We're so excited to be out here
Woo!
camping. And we're going to kick off this training workshop and series of videos with camping with children.
Yippee! We get to go out into the wilderness.
So we have this booklet that you can use for training your teachers on camping with children, and we hope you can schedule a camp out.
Oh my goodness, it's going to be so fun.
Do you like camping, Suki?
Oh, yes. Yes, I like camping very much. I like the campfire. I like to cook on the campfire.
Oh, yeah.
Particularly marshmallows and sweets.
Yes.
And hot dogs. And I like walking outside.
Hiking. Hiking is so much fun. Swimming is also fun.
Oh. And then when you get together with your friends and you're in a tent and you spend the night and you giggle.
Yes, lots of giggling as you spend the night. Actually, from my testimony is when I was a girl, our church had campouts basically every year, one every summer. So, and it costs a little bit of money because there's the expense of the food and the expense of the location.
Right.
So there was a price set for how much it was to go camping, and my family could not afford to go.
What? Oh.
So our church had
What
a
did you
program.
do?
There was this program at our church for scholarship. They only had a couple of scholarships,
Oh.
and you could earn them by memorizing verses and
Ooh.
attendance during the year. So literally, I would not miss Sunday school all year long. And I memorized the verse every time
Just for the camp
just so
out.
I could go camping. And I'd get the points. And so I won a scholarship, I think, 5 years in a row.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I went to camp every year for free because I worked very hard during the year memorizing the Bible and attending and reading the Bible. And whatever I
and you
got
didn't-
assigned, I
and
did
you-
it.
You did not miss a single Sunday school class.
No.
In 5 years.
Well, I can't remember. But I was very faithful because I wanted to go to camp.
Right.
And once I did that the first year and I had my free, I had so much fun at camp. Oh, my goodness. So every year I gave my life to the Lord.
Every year?
Every year. Yeah, the first year, obviously, I got saved. And then the second year, I just wanted to make sure. And the third year, I was just so inspired. You know, when they presented the gospel, I would just be like, me, I want to give my life to the Lord. And so I did it every year.
What did the teachers say?
At some point, one of the teachers told me, you don't actually have to do this every year. Once you're saved, you can dedicate your life if you want to, or you can give him other things, but you've already given him your life. And I'd be like, okay, but I got to do it. Anyway, so camping is a good time to connect the children to God because you're separate from what's normal life.
You're away from your house?
Yeah. If you are in a situation where, say your parents are fighting every day. It's hard. You end up just being like, you don't realize. And then when you can pull away from that fighting, pull away from whatever stresses are at home, the child can actually open up to God.
Right. And you can really spend some time, quality time, with your friends, worshiping God and doing all the fun activities.
Yeah.
And it's a nice way to get away from your life and focus on Jesus.
Oh, good morning, Julio.
Good morning.
So we have this book and camping with children that you can use. So this first chapter, what we're looking at is leadership. Okay, so we have a few points on leadership.
Okay.
Your first thing you want to do is wake up your staff. No.
Gonna have a nice sleep.
So what we're going to do is recruit all the leaders. So you want to ask often. You want to be like, hey, you want to go to camp with me? And then go again. Suki, you want to go to camp with me?
Yeah.
We are camping.
Wait, am I a student or a leader?
Both the leaders and the students, both of them, you want to ask.
Oh, okay.
So even with the children, every week, once you set the date for your camp, and you want to recruit as many children and leaders as you can. So, for example, one child maybe get asked 12 times. And every time he says, no, I'm not going camping. I'm not going. And on the 13th time, he goes, okay.
Oh, so it's worth it.
It's very worth it to keep asking. And then after 13 times he says yes, he goes and he gets saved at camp. So,
Woo!
yes, you've got to
Worth it.
keep going.
Worth it, worth it.
So convince the children to go and convince the leaders to go so that you have a good camp out and you can connect those children to God. All right, so that's recruiting. Next, you want leading small groups. You've got to train your counselors or your leaders to how to lead little small groups of children. That's where you're going to connect best with the child to God. You're going to connect them best in the small groups.
Uh-huh. So how many children, how many leaders do you need for all the children?
Well, it's going to depend, right? You can have somewhere between 5 students per leader all the way up to 20.
Wow.
So you're going to, 20 would be hard, obviously, but it still works.
Maybe one of the older leaders can have 20. I wouldn't want 20.
For example, if you are in a location that has cabins
10.
or something where they have 10 bunk beds, you're going to fit 20 young girls in there, and you can put a main leader and an assistant leader. So you can have 2 hi, Emma. You can have 2 leaders for that group of 20. Or if you have something like this where you have a tent, really only 5 girls fit in there. So you're going to want then, if you can, a leader for each tent.
Oh, okay.
So that's where you're going to have real connection with the kids. So what you want to say a couple of things. For example, what is said at camp stays at camp. So let's not gossip or anything, but that way you can open up and share stories about your life. And then the leader says, let's not talk about this when we go back to church, so we can open up here and we'll all have discretion.
Ah, that makes it really special. And then the children feel comfortable and they can say things that they wouldn't normally say, but they really need to talk about because there's no other place for them to talk about it.
Yeah. So next you want your leaders to have ice-breaking games ready. So games where we can get to know each other.
So you have to bring ice?
No, not ice. Icebreakers, so that if it's cold, first when you get to camp, it's going to be like this. Everybody's sitting around the campfire and they're not laughing. They're not talking to each other. They're like this. They're like ice. And it takes them a while to get to know each other. So that's where you want to have a few games ready, where you learn each other's names, games where you find out something about each other. So those things will help.
Games that make you laugh together a little bit?
Yeah, games that make you laugh. And pretty soon they're going to be like, okay, now I know your name's Suki. I know that you like marshmallows. So, and then you know a little bit more, and they can start to laugh and have a good time. So you have to plan this. It doesn't happen naturally. You have to plan it.
But then later on, these kids are going to make lifelong friends.
Yes. And you want to train your leaders also for small groups to prepare questions that don't have yes or no answers. For example, you want to say, instead of saying, did you have fun today?
Yes.
Right. You can answer that very simply. You are going to want to say something like, what was the best part of your day today?
The campfire.
Where the smoke got in your eyes. Yeah. So you want to work on pulling stuff out of the children. And to do that, you want to prepare some questions that you can ask them that don't have a yes or no answer.
Oh, okay. And then you can write these down ahead of time so that you have them with you. If you're like me and you would forget the questions.
Okay, section 3 of leadership is impart the vision. You've got to share the vision with all your leaders so they're excited about connecting children to God.
But the leaders already have eyes. I don't want to pass you my eyes. I don't want to give you my eyes.
No, not the eyes. The vision, the reason that we're there, the reason why we're camping is to connect children to God. And you've got to share that vision with them.
Oh, okay.
So oftentimes people think the most important job at camp is the speaker.
Right.
They're the famous person that comes and
Jesus
preaches.
says to do his will.
But the famous person really doesn't have the connection with the children, they're not the one who's going to lead them to the Lord. They're not the one who's going to actually make the biggest impact in the lives of the children. Actually, the small group leaders, the one who's in the tent with the children, that's the one who the child is going to go to. If, for example, at home, they're in a situation where their dad is hitting them, they're not going to go to that speaker and say, my dad beats me, I don't know what to do. No, they're going to go to their leader who's in the tent with them.
The person with them who stayed with them during the night, and you spent more time with the children, and then you build a trust.
Yes.
And then the children can come to you during the week or on another Sunday and tell you about things.
So you want to share that vision with your leaders, that their job, the ones who are in the small groups, in the cabins or in the tent with the children, that's the most important job. And then the last part is how to lead the child to the Lord. And you're just going to, we have it here in the booklet, an example prayer. And you just want to make sure to train your small group leaders so that they can lead the children to the Lord when that moment arises. It's better one-on-one, or it's better inside the tent than it is in the large group setting.
Oh, okay.
All right, so that's your main stuff. I want to just give you a quick couple of ideas for setting up your camp. It's pretty simple. You just want to pick a location and a time. So you got where and when. For the location, you want to have a couple of activities. So if you can find a place that has water where they can swim, like a river, a beach, or a lake, that's something that you can schedule several hours for swimming, and that's going to help your camp go smoother.
And then you need to tell everyone, bring your swimsuit and bring a towel.
So you want to find a location that is as cheap or economic as possible, or free, that has an activity to do in that location. So it could be a forest that has some trails to hike, or it could be, like I mentioned, a beach with water where to swim, or it could be a place where there's activities like a jump house or a rock climbing wall, things like that.
One of the places I went, it had a rock climbing wall. You could ride horses.
That's a nice activity.
Walk.
So you want to have, now a jumping house you can rent and bring with you, but most of the activities you kind of need to have them there, right? You can't bring a lake with you. So that's part of choosing your location. And then for the time and the date, you're going to want to watch out for hot and cold. So you want to be careful that at night, if you're sleeping outside, it cannot be too cold and it cannot be too hot. So, for example, some of our places here in Mexico, in the summertime, a tent like this would be way too hot.
Yeah, we have tried that.
It's kind of like a little oven.
You can't sleep when it's too hot.
No, you can't sleep when it's too hot. So you want to schedule that based on the weather, so because you can't control the weather. So anyway, and if you want the camp out to be free for the leaders, then you're going to need to figure out the cost of the location and the food, and then work in the price of the children, how much it is for the leaders. Or you can make it free for everyone and then go raise funds asking people to donate the cost for, and have some women come and cook all the meals, ask them to donate their time, and you can get it as economic as possible.
But we just have to remember and imagine, what could it be? How can we reach the children using the camp out? And why are we doing this?
To connect children to God.
Woo!
All right. So that's chapter 1, leadership for camping. We'll see you in chapter 2.